I also want to look at the IMF's macroeconomic outlook for India and the rest of the world. This is very interesting because it shows how India is growing relative to the rest of the world, not just amongst peer developing economies, but even if you look at the advanced economies in the Euro area, countries like Germany, France, Japan, the UK, the US, you're seeing how their growth rates are very low relative to India on a much higher base and at a higher level of development in terms of the economic trajectories. China expected to grow in FY23 at 5.2, India at 6.7%, getting revised upwards from 6.3 to 6.7. The next year outlook is 6.5, the year after is 6.5 as well. Russia at 3, Brazil at 3.1, Mexico at 3.4. Why is it, Dr. Garg, that the IMF is slightly less bullish on India than the RBI and the Finance Ministry's own estimates, which are 7% or 7% plus, and they're still at 6.7.
So you are right. So they have about 0.3 to 0.6% less.
The year is almost over, so now what is it that they can't see, which we're seeing?
No. So it's still you have 2 months to go. Yeah. It's not, and the data which the this NSO used here for building the yearly estimates was based on the 6 months data. Those 6 months were much better than what is happening right now in the last 4 months. And therefore, my sense is that the IMF is perhaps closer to reality. We will have somewhere between 6.7 to 7%, not 7.3%.
So you're saying they're padding it for the elections?
No, it's data. You build the estimation methodology is like this, that you take 6 months data into consideration to project for the 12 months. So that is one. Second thing, which is very important, I think we must remember this. If you talk about 7% growth, right, about 3% of that, 2.5 to 3% is straight away from the capex which the government is doing. If you take that away, the secular growth, which is based on the consumption side of the economy, is only about 4.5% to 5%. That is not, so if the capex goes down, or capex is taken away, or it doesn't grow, the growth momentum in the years to come will actually reduce. So let us not be very celebratory over the fact that we will be contributing 16% of the global growth this year. That's fine if you build capex based, and that is based on the high fiscal deficit. We have seen many episodes in India as well as all over the world where temporary growth build up based on the high debt actually doesn't sustain and comes to grief later on.
But you know, some element of self-congratulations will be there, given the fact that, you know, where were we a couple of years ago, there was doom and gloom scenarios being painted. In that sense, you know, we are in a very sweet spot. I mean, the government in particular, even when you look at the cycle of elections, seems to be in a position where they can go to the people certainly today, compared again to 2019 with a greater sense of confidence and buoyancy.
Rajdeep, when is the last time that you have seen Indian infrastructure projects going viral on social media, not within India, but overseas? All of us consume social media quite a lot, and I'm telling you, the Bengaluru airport, visitor upon visitor calls it the best airport in the world. Look at the highways, and now people are actually comparing us with China and saying, oh well, and Ray Dalio told this to us at Davos. He said India is where Deng Xiaoping, before the great takeoff in China happened. And he also says that Prime Minister Modi is India's Deng Xiaoping. The point is that as far as infrastructure is concerned, and Mr. Garg makes that very relevant point, previous efforts to do public-private partnership and private sector infrastructure led development left a big gaping hole in our public sector banks. This time the government is taking that responsibility. There are concerns, including the finance ministry in the recent past, and I wonder Mr. Garg must have also raised this question about how much can NHAI take on. But the fact is, the government will have to do it. There is no one else, Rajdeep.
Because so again, this is a smart choice by the government, that if you need to push growth, if you need to build infrastructure of the world class, and you are not able to rely on the private sector because profitability is not there. Your road building is not profitable, your rail building is not profitable, your airports are not profitable, and therefore you spend from the government, which will push the growth as well as get the trophy assets